Hello, everybody. My name's Harris, and today we're going to be filming our first episode of the Knuckleheads Podcast. We are very excited that you could join us today. And today I'm with my two buddies. Um, the first one is Mars. Say hello, Mars.
I'm Maz. I'm 17. I'm from Pakistan. I'm living in Oslo right now. That's pretty cool, I guess.
And my second partner is Mohammed. Mohammed, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello guys, I am Mohammed. I am 18 years old and I'm living in Iran right now.
And I'm 19 years old, and I'm from Australia. So today we are going to be Today, our first episode is going to be mainly focused on the subreddit "Am I the Asshole?", which is a subreddit about people posting their experiences, their events, their life, and certain things that have happened to them, and discussing on whether they're in the wrong in this situation or not. So, for today, we're going to be covering three stories with my two gracious hosts. And the first subreddit and the first story today is "Am I the Asshole for Embarrassing My Wife?" by user by us by you slash by r slash random user 220. Anyway, so let's get started. So, am I the asshole for embarrassing my wife? I have two twins, Castella and Freya, with my ex-wife. My ex-wife Mariana and I were married a long time ago, and were divorced a while ago, and I remarried 2 years later. Pardon me. My wife Ava does not like my ex. I told her from the beginning me and my ex-wife, are not rivals. We are co-parents and are civil, and regardless, she's their mom. My parents like her a lot. Mariama was diagnosed with cancer last year. Her head was shaved as she's still on chemo, and my parents have been helping her with herself and the kids often. They are my kids' grandparents, and I don't see why I have to shun Mariama out of everyone. She's been around since grade school. I don't like to talk to her aside from the kids. She doesn't come to family gatherings or anything. There's many things Ava doesn't like about this, especially our custody agreement. Here's the issue. My kids came to me really upset and they showed me a bunch of posts that Ava made about Mariama. Ava, for the past month, has been writing posts about Mariama. She's been taking pictures of her from her profiles, one of her in a wig after she shaved her head, saying, "Take off the effing wig." Another picture of Mariama with no wig, saying, "That's better, bitch." She took another one she took another one of the wig Mariana posted of her and the kids on their birthday, saying, "So happy to see my babies getting on so big," which Ava reposted, saying, "Yeah, you're still dying though." Those got worse. Even people Ava was friends with were posting about Mariama and our kids. My kids are upset. We all sat down and she tried saying that Mariama was messaging her saying worse stuff. I asked her to show me, but she said that's on Snapchat and they are gone. It was confirmed that Mariama doesn't even have Snapchat. I told Ava that she needed to go off a little while. Me and my kids talked. They said they found her on Instagram and that this has been happening since she got cancer based on how long she's been posting these. They were obviously hurt. They said that they wanted to go to their moms for a while, and this made them extremely uncomfortable with her, which was understandable. Me and Mariama talked. Apparently, she seen this, but she didn't bring up because she wasn't the mood to cause any drama. Me and Eva talked. I told her that she's going to publicly apologize to Mariama and my kids since everything was made public. Apologizing to Mariama through text and my kids in person. I left for a bit to think. All this embarrassed Ava greatly. I'm getting messages from people saying that I'm an asshole and I made her do all that and didn't forgive her and humiliated her. I think it's odd that it's accused against me. There's a line between caring about someone's well-being and secretly being in love with them. If I highly doubt I would be divorced and married this long. I feel like the embarrassment was deserved, and I hate to say it, but this just made me feel this this just made me feel disgusted.
Hmm.
So what do you boys think of the first story?
So, first off, I
First.
just want to go out and say this that Ava definitely was being very nasty, all right, definitely throughout the entire endeavor. Of course, this is only one side of the story. We don't really know what Ava was really thinking. She's not really speaking, but from what we can see, I really think that Ava was misbehaving a lot. It's not like sorts of like taunts or whatever. Like the comments that were being made were very like rude. Like you wouldn't tell a cancer patient, you're still dying though or whatever, when they're, trying to be happy and getting through their treatment. And the OP, the original poster, um, he didn't really do anything that bad because all that he did was told his wife to apologize publicly because of this. And if you're, making these comments in public, so you gotta apologize in public as well. So if Ava got embarrassed by this, I mean, who cares? You did something wrong. You should be embarrassed. I definitely don't think that the OP is the aggressor or the person in the wrong in this case. So yeah, that's pretty much what I think. It's just weird, you
I
know.
think that I first say I just want to say I agree with you, Mars. If she posts them in public, then she should apologize in public because then like there's no like accountability. You know what I mean? And also, I think it's disgusting that she even came after someone who's dying with cancer. I feel like because like some step parents maybe they feel like a little bit insecure. They feel like they'd like I don't know. It's like maybe she felt like a little like ashamed and like sad because she's a stepmom and she doesn't feel like the kids are hers. Like like she'll always be like the second wife. However, there's no justification to making fun of the cancer patient. So she's saying shit like, "Yeah, you're still dying though," and it's just it's embarrassing. It's immature as well. If Ava has an issue with the ex-wife Mariama, then she should talk to her about it and be an adult about it. She shouldn't be going online and bullying her. That this is type of stuff you see in like high school. Like this is very like immature behavior. Like this woman is married. She's old enough to be like the mother of two twins. It doesn't say how old she is, but she's obviously old enough to know that this isn't acceptable at all. And I completely feel bad for the twins as well. Imagine having your mom like diagnosed with cancer, but worst of all, having your mom be bullied about it on the internet as well. I
Yep.
think it's disgusting, and I think
Step.
that the husband, I don't know how you could look at someone like that and be married to someone like that. I could never look if my wife did this and bullied someone with cancer online. I could personally never look at her the same. The fact that they're still together, if they're still together, kind of astonishes me as well. Mohammed, what do you think about this?
I agree with both of you. I believe that regardless of who that person is, like, sure, it is your ex-wife. Yeah, sure, this this guy used to marry to this woman and stuff. But you must always show respect to everyone. Like they all, yeah, sure, they got divorced a long time ago, but that doesn't mean that she's a bad person. She's bullying him. Actually, his the OP's ex-wife, or as I as I understand it, for one of it is jealousy, as you guys said it yourself, that
Yeah.
she's bullying her is because she's jealous. She's jealous of the fact that now that she has a cancer and her husband is sort of like paying a bit of attention to her, to her, and she's bullying her for being the ex-wife.
Yeah.
I
That's
say
that.
that as a grown up, I agree with Harris too. I agree with Harris too. As a grown up, you must have a mutual respect with, you should not mutual respect, you should show respect to your opponent. If it doesn't matter if your opponent has cancer or not. And And by the way, that makes it even worse. The fact that she has a cancer and you're bullying her online. And for the last couple of sentences, no, I don't think that he is being an asshole for asking his wife to apologize publicly to everyone. Because because let me be honest, she is the asshole one here, not him.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
know?
Yeah. It's I think it's like more than I reckon. Even like him forcing Ava to apologize online isn't like the same as her bullying someone for cancer online. Like, and also it's a hypocrisy as well. Like I said, her friends came at this guy because this her friends like he got messages from people saying that he's an asshole for making the wife apologize because it embarrassed her on the internet. Does he not consider the fact that she embarrassed the poor ex-wife on the internet as well?
Yeah.
It goes both
Yeah,
ways. And
exactly.
honestly, apologizing is not nearly as embarrassing as getting made fun of especially for something you can't even control as well.
Yeah, honestly, that's definitely
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's not something
I think
that was her choice. It wasn't her choice to get cancer,
yeah,
you know?
exactly.
exactly.
I think it's safe to say we all agree that this woman's an asshole. The husband is not an asshole, and if somehow Mariama's listening to this podcast and the two twins are listening to the podcast, we wish you the best with your cancer treatment, and we just want to let you know that we're here to support you and all that junk.
We
But
send
yeah,
her
so we
best
will
wishes and all, you know,
exactly, yeah.
hope for the best, you know. Yeah,
Wish you the best.
that was our first story. But we have another story as well. So this story is uh AITA. That's the abbreviation for the Reddit. AITA for not letting an obese woman adopt a dog. So, obviously, first off, credit to the poster, you slash Sneaky Stewart. It's a bit of a weird name, but there's all kinds
Hmm.
of people in the world. So, the story goes like this. I work at an animal shelter, so I basically get paid to play with dogs. My favorite days are the ones where I spend my 8-hour shift throwing frisbees and playing chase with the dogs in the yard. So naturally, I fell in love with Rocky. Rocky was taken to us several months ago by a couple that didn't have the time slash energy to care for him. He is a breed that will destroy furniture if not adequately exercised, but when he is exercised, he is a very good boy. When I let him out of his kennel and he showers me with kisses, I'm always reluctant to put him back. In the several months I've known him, I've hardly seen him tired. Because of his activity level, he's gotten no adoption applicants. That changed at an adoption event a few weeks ago. Rocky jumped on a woman and attacked her with kisses. Instead of pushing him away, she embraced him. It was love at first sight. Only problem, she was morbidly obese and drenched in sweat when it wasn't warm. I know you can't judge fitness by looks, but I've never met someone her size fit enough to run 2+ hours a day with a hyperactive dog or chase him when he jumps the fence. The woman asked about adopting Rocky, so I quote unquote interrogated her, as all adopters do. She gave me mostly yellow green flags, so she was fine, I guess. She worked full time but had good flexible hours and could work from home as well. She lived in an apartment but next to a dog park as well. Um, but I couldn't shake the uneasiness. I asked about her activity level and she said she had an active lifestyle but didn't elaborate. Active lifestyle has many meanings nowadays. I learned after having this job for a while that you have to go with your gut and prioritize animals over people's feelings. As excited as this woman was about Rocky, I saw him going home with her, getting little to no exercise, trashing a couch or two, and then getting taken back here, or worse, to a kill shelter. I'd rather he spend a couple months here with a staff who can meet his needs and wait for a better home. I told her she couldn't have him and suggested she look at smaller animals like cats. She got mad, saying things I won't say here, obviously. I didn't mention weight, but I think she knew that was the reason I turned her away. I briefly doubted my decision. What if she was a good fit for Rocky? What if Rocky spent years in the shelter because I turned her away? But as I saw her struggle to walk to the car, I knew I was right. My boss said he would have done the same thing. Now, apparently, the woman I turned away has a large social media following, and she's been talking real crap about the shelter, calling us fat phobic and urging followers to post bad reviews of us and not to donate to us. Now, people are leaving nasty reviews, and someone is harassing the owner by email. The owner also says I did the right thing, but I'm unsure. The emails have been getting worse and worse. I feel we will lose funds and adopters, all because I was too judgmental. The animals are my number one priority, but should I have let Rocky go? Am I the a-hole? Yeah, so that's how this story goes. I'd like to pass it to Mohammed. So what do you think, Mohammed? What's your take on this story?
Let me go on record and say, if I saw that woman with that dog, if I go to that shelter, animal shelter, whatever it's called, I would immediately adopt that dog because I I already fell in love with that dog. But no, I'm not quite an expert on this stuff, but I have seen many quote unquote, morbidly obese women's and men's who were the best, sort of like mentors, or I think it's called owners of the dog. And I think she is being an a-hole in this story because one cannot judge a person's level of activity and love and dedication for an animal based on their look. You know, I can be a really skinny looking guy who so happens to be quite lazy and can't take care of himself, let alone another animal. Or
Yeah.
the opposite, I can be morbidly obese and quite active too, and be a good and caring person. So yeah, I think the others are right about it. She is being an a-hole in this story because she judged, although I don't believe in fat phobic stuff, but let's just say she misjudged her for what she could be as an owner and as a person.
Yeah. So, I mostly agree with what Mohammed said. Basically, I think, how they mentioned in the story, the OP mentioned that, it was love at first sight. The adopter was clearly very passionate about the dog. And, the obviously, from what we can see from here, is that the adopter, you know, was apparently overweight, but the OP didn't, wasn't like just because you're fat. It was sort of like that, I guess, in the sense that the OP decided that just because this person was fat they weren't capable of taking care of an animal. Um, we really don't even know how fat this lady could have been. I mean, some people just throw out buzzwords like morbidly obese. Maybe the woman was just a bit overweight. Um, but point being was that I think that the dog definitely should have been adopted. Rocky should have gone to the woman who came to adopt the dog. I don't think that the OP was really thinking that well. Even with the questions and answers that was, given, she like she fit a bar basically. She was capable of owning the dog. She was like sending green flags and maybe like some iffy stuff, but I mean, we're not all perfect. Obviously, there's going to be like some iffy stuff, but I think that you know, it you know, it should have been it shouldn't have been this way. Uh, Another thing is that this sort of indirectly harmed more dogs than helped dogs. Because if Rocky had gone there, he might have had a really good owner. But Rocky doesn't get that opportunity now, and this apparently this you know uh, dog adoption center, they're being flooded by bad reviews and they're losing funding, so they're obviously not going to be able to take care of dogs as well, and they won't be able to send them to good homes as well either. So, just because this person decided, oh, that person looks fat, so you won't get the dog. Less dogs have technically gotten like an opportunity to go into a home. So, I definitely would say that the person is in the wrong here. The OP is definitely in the wrong. Yeah, but what about you, Horace?
Well, pretty much. I do agree with what your boy said. She was acting very unprofessional, and This is what This is body shaming. She's assuming someone can't take care of a dog because she's overweight. But in the same sense, she just assumed she's pretty much assuming that like, oh, because you're fat, you're lazy. But it gives the idea that she thinks that skinny people can't be lazy either. And also, not just that, dogs. She's right. The dog's an active person. It's an active dog. You need to be like you need to take her out for walks and stuff like that. Or you need to take out Rocky for walks and all that stuff. But one thing you boys didn't consider, and OP didn't consider, what if this dog could have like helped her lose weight? What if this dog could have gave her motivation to go on walks every day and get her to start exercising and lose a little bit of weight and be healthier? And even let's say hypothetically, even if she doesn't walk the dog, she can always hire. There's services out there you can pay other people to walk your dog as well. Do you know what I mean? Like walking a dog isn't a requirement to love it. Like there's like options out. Don't get me wrong. It's good to walk your dog, okay? But if you're not able to walk your dog, you can like hire dog walkers and stuff like that. It's about owning a dog is about love pretty much. And this woman obviously loved the dog. The dog loved her. But OP was too ignorant to see that. I'm willing to go that far. And also, there are people who are skinny who don't take dogs for walks, and the dog ends up miserable for that. So what if OP adopted the dog to someone who's skinny who doesn't go for walks and stuff like that? That dog would have been miserable and could have missed out on a good opportunity to get a good home. And not just that as well. There's people that work full time that own dogs. They don't have time to take the dogs for a walk, and they hire dog walkers as well. So this is just Opie is very. She's giving me like the idea that she's a very ignorant woman. She sees everything she says black and white. So she's 100% the asshole. And honestly, her boss is an asshole as well because he even agreed that she did the right thing.
Yeah,
But
um,
that's just my take. That dog could have That dog missed out on a huge opportunity to get be in a good home based on like the green flags that she presented OP. And I don't think this OP should be working in adoption centers. She's gonna have this mentality.
uh, yeah,
But that's just my take.
I would just say that, I don't really think that the boss is in the wrong here. I'm getting the impression that this the OP is like probably some young person, maybe working part time. Maybe doesn't have like a full view of how, like things work. Maybe she just assumed that, if you work full time, when are you gonna get the time to like walk your dog? Maybe there wasn't so much foresight in that decision. There could have been bias there as well because obviously the OP loved the dog as well. But the boss I think was, not really. I mean, the boss wasn't going to be like, "Oh, you did so bad and whatnot." All right. I mean, people make mistakes in their job, and it's not like the boss's job to like basically like scrutinize the OP for the mistake. But even though
She's
the
saying
OP
the boss
is
needs to.
wrong, I don't think that the boss is wrong for like being a bit light on it. But yeah,
I
I would
agree with you on that too, Maz. Go ahead, go ahead.
I would also, say that, Harsh brought up a good point about how the dog could help the lady exercise because some people get dogs just to exercise. They're like, I'm lonely. I don't want to go out on walks on my own. So let me get a dog. I'll walk a dog around. It'll be fun. But, maybe the OP didn't see this or something, but I think that the OP needs to have a lot more foresight. Definitely not the way to go. I'm sorry. I'm voting against the OP in this case. Yeah, you were saying something, Maz?
I wanted to say the same thing that I want to say that perhaps and you're right. It is not the boss's fault. Boss is not wrong here, but I get this expression that perhaps the boss is trying to be not only supportive, but maybe the OP is inexperienced. You see, maybe it's her first job or it's her first time working in that place. So perhaps maybe she misjudged that
Mm,
person because of her lack of experience. It
yeah.
could be the case as well.
I think the only way she can make this right is if she lets the Beast Woman adopt the dog and
Mm,
apologize as well. That's the
yeah.
only way they can get funding, and that's the only way they can lose all the negative reviews. And honestly, I think the negative reviews are justified because um she was very judgmental, and if you're judgmental in any business, you're gonna lose customers. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah.
You have to be open minded when you're in a business, especially if you're working with customers and all that stuff. So I reckon the best way she should do it is apologize and let the woman adopt a dog.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Publicly apologize.
Yeah.
But so we all agree that this woman is the asshole situation.
Yeah. 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 I agree.
All right, perfect.
All right.
So
So the final story of the day. I'm going to read a story called "Am I the Asshole for Giving a Vegetarian Child Meat?" By the way, let me go on record to say that we tried to look for the OP, the identity for the guy, for that person who wrote this story, but unfortunately we weren't able to find it. So I'm gonna, we are gonna say thanks to whoever wrote this story,
Yeah. Thanks.
but sorry we couldn't find your ID. So my 13-year-old has a friend. He brings over at our house. The official reason is he is tutoring my son and helping with homeworks or some kind of gimmicky extracurricular credit at school. But seeing how overbearing his mother is, I let them play video games or watch films instead without telling her. Win-win for mother, win-win for win-win for my son and him both. She's a nightmare, mother. She told me that I shouldn't make her son uncomfortable by offering him any food. They are very religious, Hindu and strict vegetarians. Can't eat eggs, can't even eat fruits it's if it's sliced with same knife we use for meat. Wow. Any food in my kitchen is polluted because we eat meat, blah blah. There could have been a more tactful way of saying that, you know, she snacks she pre-approved. And, and he was not to eat anything else. What a mother. Apparently, one time she made a huge scene after he told her he ate a Snickers bar at school because it contains eggs. He didn't believe in God and said those rules don't apply to him and wanted a microwave burrito. Our son had foolishly reheated one for himself instead of waiting until his friend was gone. I couldn't say no. I felt very bad, so said he could have one too. He is old enough to make his choice, but I don't know if I should enable it like this, especially after how serious his mother seemed about their religion.
Hmm.
What do you think about this story?
Yeah. So, um, I think this is a very interesting story because, I mean, there's obviously a strict mother. There's also religion involved, so it's a bit more controversial than the other two that we talked about. But uh, essentially, the 13-year-old, came over, and you know, the the son had like a burrito, and then obviously the other kids saw, and the dad didn't want to be rude, so he offered a burrito to the Hindu kid who isn't allowed to have anything from their house.
It's his mom, but
Yeah. So, um, first off, I just want to say that this guy, I don't honestly think that he's that bad, but he could have been a bit more cautious, like he could have probably told his son a bit better that, don't like eat anything in front of him because, if you can't serve your guests, then it's pretty rude to like just eat in front of them. But I mean, they're ultimately kids. I mean, he was just hungry and got some. But maybe the dad could have been like, "Oh, don't like eat in front of him. It's kind of rude." But you know, maybe there's like also some sort of cultural difference as well. Maybe the dad thought it was a bit more of a light issue. Maybe it's a bigger issue for the Hindu family. Maybe like because when this kid goes home and like he talks to his mom, like maybe it has some sort of effect, like he feels guilty for eating the food because it goes against his beliefs. But I don't really think that the dad is in the wrong here, but he's not in the right either. It's sort of like in the middle, um, you know, in the sense that like his intentions were good and all, and I mean, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't from what I know of Hinduism, like I mean, if you accidentally eat something, it's fine, I guess. But I don't. It wasn't an accident in this case, but it's a very tricky case. I would just say it's sort of like a middle ground. He's not really in the right, but he's not like a bad person for what he did. Obviously, he was just trying to be nice, but there might be some cultural difference. But yeah, what do you think, Horace?
I think personally, I think he's a bit like of an asshole because at the end of the day, OP says that he's old enough to make his own choices. We don't know how old the kid is. All he knows is that if he's let's say he's 13 like his son, right? I feel like him like offering him like meat, and to be honest, let's be honest, 13 is a young age. Like it's not a kid anymore. It's like you're a teenager, but you're still young. I mean, you don't know any better, so I don't think OP should be enabling this behavior. And also, I think it's about boundaries as well. Let's say all three of us are Muslim, right? Let's say if we had a kid, let's say we had our own child, and we sent our child to go to another child's like we pretty much sent our kid to go to another parent's house, and we found out that their parents had been forcing our kid to eat pork. Not forcing, but like offering our kid to eat pork and enabling our kid to eat like pork and gelatin and drink like alcohol. We would be upset about it. So I think the mother has every right to be upset. And I don't know. I feel like he should be more like accommodating, especially like the whole knife situation where you shouldn't use the same knife to you like we use for me and blah blah blah. And also I think he's like um when he said, for example, my kitchen is polluted because we eat meat, blah 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 blah. I feel like he's not really taking his this freaking sorry, pardon me. I feel like he's not taking this kid's religion as seriously. I feel like if he was taking this kid's religion seriously, he wouldn't enable it and you'd be respectful about it. And it is going against the mother's wishes, which I think is wrong. Listen, at the end of the day, if the mother of a child says I don't want my child to be eating this food because I think it's wrong, then you shouldn't go against the mother's wishes because it's not your child, it's her child, and she has a right to raise him how she wants. If the kid, let's say the kid turns 18 and he still doesn't want to eat meat and he still doesn't want to eat fruit and all that junk and he wants to eat eggs and he wants to eat meat, then that's his choice at the end of the day because he's 18 now, he's an adult. But at the end of the day, he's a child now, so he has to like should listen to what his mom has to say because the mom obviously believes that she's doing the right thing for the child, and it's a religious thing as well. So I don't know. I'm saying he's a bit of an asshole for that.
Uh,
Not a huge asshole, but like nonetheless, he's wrong in the situation.
hmm,
And they should. And even I know you said earlier that the kid is 13 years old, but at the end of the day, when I was 13 years old, like I knew better not to like eat certain food around certain people and all that stuff. I think the kid should be still cautious. But yeah,
um, yeah, I thought
that's just my little take.
I mostly agree with
You
what you
guys,
said.
please excuse me for a second.
Yeah, okay. I mostly agreed with what you said, but one thing that I was sort of on the fence about was like, if if like for example, we sent our kids to someone's house and they were offering like a food that we didn't allow them to have, I wouldn't really see that as a, like I wouldn't be upset with them. It's just more of a thing that, you know, they didn't really know any better, and they were just trying to be nice. So I don't really think it would be like that upsetting. Like in the case of like for like alcohol, it would be more upsetting because alcohol is a bit more serious and it's like bad for health and everything as well. So but like in the case of like meat or something, I don't really think like people would be that upset if like you offered and then the kid took it. I mean, maybe the kid should have thought a bit more that his mother was, saying that you can't eat this. It's not in our religion.
It was if you tell no, if they do it by accident, that's fine. Like if you don't tell them ahead of time that our kids shouldn't eat pork and they feed them pork, that's not my complaint. If I like tell them ahead of time, do not can you not offer my child pork? because he's Muslim and it's against our culture and our religion, and they still offer him pork, then that's them being an asshole. Because at the end of the day, they're showing no respect of our religion, of our culture, and I think that's very wrong.
Mm. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Um,
And if it's a kid, if it's our child, and he's 13 years old and he's still a kid, that's even like that's still bad. If we call ahead of time and say like, let's say we had an 18-year-old son or daughter, okay, an 18-year-old kid, and he's an adult now, he can think for himself. He's independent. We call ahead of time and say, listen, our son's coming over to your house. Please do not offer him pork. And if they offer him pork and he eats it, then it's not that bad. It's still kind of, I feel like it's still disrespectful they offer him pork. But if he eats it and they offer him the pork, it wouldn't be as bad. But the fact that he's 13 as well and still a kid, that's wrong as well. Because that's still young. You don't know any like you
Yeah,
don't really know any better.
I do think that it's good that you brought this up. That it is the mom's choice as to like what her kids can eat or not. Because that's just the mom's right to say that, especially the mom's acting out of a belief that she believes that she's doing best for her kids. So I don't think that it's very good to interfere in that. But you know, maybe he felt a bit like it wasn't that big of a deal because the son's friend, right, who was offered the burrito, he said that he didn't believe in God and said that those rules didn't apply to him. So maybe he got a bit more open because of that. He's like, oh, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But yeah, I think that it's more like that. You know, it's not
Yeah, I agree.
it's not.
I sort of like look at it in the sort of in this view that there is that it's happened that what we are seeing in this story is a clash of cultures, really. One clash of cultures and beliefs. One sees um, themselves as not so much caring and not and sort of like relaxed and quote unquote open minded about certain issues than others. However, I do believe that one should have a freedom to choose at a certain age, and it doesn't have any limits. Like, for example, when I was 13, I used to be quiet, understanding, and open mind, quite understanding about religion and about my religion, my belief, and was also quite understand, and I quite understood the Western religion, not religion, the Western beliefs and etc., cultures and etc. So I'll say it really depends on one's belief and understanding of the world and the environment they're living in. Aris said that if we offer this to if an 18-year, if that kid was 18 instead of 13 and was offered to eat a meat, it's sort of like meats and stuff, it would have been okay. However, I'll look at it in this perspective that even if you truly understood understood your religion, your beliefs, and your culture, and you still rejected that belief, is your choice to make a decision on that. And whether if you want to be a vegetarian or not. And I go as far as to say that it wouldn't even matter if you were old enough and mature enough. It wouldn't even matter if you, I mean, mentally, not age. I'm not talking about age here. I'm talking about mental age and stuff. If you were mature enough mentally, you have the freedom to choose what you what your beliefs are, even at the age of 13. So I'll say that, I agree that that he or she, that the parents of that 13-year-old child wasn't an asshole one here. However, he or she should have, in a way, took that into consideration. Took the
Yeah,
fact that, this child of mine who doesn't believe in the same stuff that his friends does should be should have been more considerate, because because it doesn't say here, like you guys point out, that it doesn't say here how old was that child there, his or her child's friend. So I'll say he or she should have been more considerate of this fact, but I personally don't blame her for it. I think that child had a choice to make, and his choice was to eat that Dorito or whatever it was.
Freedom.
yeah, I get that. I think that you didn't make a good point that I would imagine that since this kid is getting tutored, he's the same age or at least older than the 13-year-old son. So I think you made a good point that they're not like completely ignorant to what they think. Like they have their own thoughts and feelings. So this person could be like, I don't really care for what my mom's saying. So I do think that maybe that's more like a personal matter. Uh, and if the kid's like, I don't believe in this, but the mom's like, you should believe in this, then it's a bit weirder. But uh, you know, you probably don't want to get involved in that conversation to begin with, but you're already in that situation where do I give the child a burrito and go against his mother, or do I not give him the burrito and just he stays there and doesn't eat a burrito that he wants to eat. So it's
I,
definitely a slippery slope. You can't really call him bad for it. I don't really think that he's bad at all in this case. It's just sort of a gray area. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
exactly. It's like the choice between bad and worse. It's the difference between bad and worse.
Mm,
Should I offer this burrito or burrito? Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
burrito to this child that has this very strict beliefs. Even though if I don't offer that, that's why I'm saying it's a lose-lose situation. If I don't offer that to this child, it would be rude. But if I do, it has meat in it. So, it's a lose-lose situation. But in regards to that, I personally don't think that she is being an asshole here. In conclusion, we can say this in conclusion, that he or she is not being the asshole one here, because it doesn't matter. He or she was in a lose-lose situation.
mm,
I think that
Ultimately, she had to make a choice.
I reckon if she didn't offer, I don't want to let it off the hook and say she's not an asshole. She's still wrong. She's still in the wrong. No, I'd say she. OP is still in the wrong. Okay, for offering it. But I reckon if she didn't offer it, and the son, and not the son, the tutor went out of his way to ask for the burrito, then I reckon she's not in the wrong. And I reckon she should. Okay, I don't want to say she's an asshole, but she's not innocent either. She should like have some. She should be like have some like cultural
consider.
like not empathy, but like she should be a little bit understanding to the from the mom's point of view. And she did call her like a nightmare. Or I should say she OP called the tutor's mom a nightmare mother, which regardless if that's true or not implies that like she doesn't respect the mom. So I don't know. I reckon not the asshole, but she's not innocent either.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like it's also a matter of perspective. Maybe they come from a culture where the parents are more protective of their children, so they don't want, you
That's
know,
true as well. Yeah.
do this or that and give them things that they don't want their children to have. But
Yeah, the
yeah,
clash of cultures.
yeah,
The
it's
more I think about it, I'm saying she is an asshole, but like I don't know, no, maybe not on the same level. She's still wrong. She's wrong for offering thing, and she should be more
Sure.
sensitive. She should be more understanding of this tutor and this mom's culture.
mm, yeah,
Like at the end of the day,
yeah, you're right, definitely. But
she
yeah,
needs to have better understanding.
that's pretty much all the time we have for today. It was really
Yeah,
fun
that's
recording this
pretty
episode.
much, yeah.
Do you guys have any closing thoughts or statements? Well, what do you guys think about the people here? You know?
I think
I'll say that. Yeah, Harris, go on. Harris, go on.
I'm saying for the first Reddit, I just want to give props to the. I know this feels like a while ago, but for the first story covered, am I the asshole for embarrassing my wife? I just want to give props to the husband for like sort of teaching Ava, the stepmom, a lesson and making her like accept responsibility.
Yeah.
If you understand what I mean. But big ups that guy. That guy is not the asshole. Story for the story about the woman hauling and a beast woman adopt a dog. That's wrong. However, she can make it right if she can let the woman adopt the dog again. It's not too late to fix this mistake and apologize. Thing is, what's interesting about this is the second and the third story we covered have all been deleted off Reddit as well. So that's a very interesting remark. So if anyone, if Stinky Stewart is listening to this, what you did was wrong. You should apologize, and it's not too late. You can maybe let the woman adopt the dog if Rocky's still there. And for the third story, which doesn't have a user, just try to be more understanding of people's cultures and religion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
understand what I mean.
I would
But
agree.
that's all I gotta say, man.
Yeah. What about you, Mama? What do you think? Any thoughts?
Oh, I'll say that I agree with Harris too. Like the first story was very wrong. like uh, actually not the husband but the wife, Ava, I think her name was.
Yeah.
She was very wrong, and she should in fact apologize. But mostly I wanted to point this conversation point out to the third story about the clash of the cultures. We
Mm,
should What we are seeing in that story is more than just some random dude offering meat to a sort of like, actually that sounds really wrong, offering a food that has
uh,
meat and sort of like dead animals in it to a vegetarian. I think it's more than that. It's basically the clash of the cultures, as I like to call it. And I believe that we must not just be more considerate, but we should start to sort of like read and understand and travel more frequently and try to understand the people that are around the world, especially in countries like Australia that is way, way too multicultural, and like, countries like ours. We should always sort of like travel, see, and meet people and try to understand them, try to understand their culture and their belief. And we should show respect. We should show respect and consideration. Although it is my own personal belief, let me go on record to say that it is my personal belief that that tutor had a choice to make, and it was either her choice to eat the food or not. However, I do also believe that not just the parent, but each of us, each and every single one of us, and all of those who are listening to this podcast must be more considerate and must read. Reading is very important. Read about the difference about the different culture and understand the difference, because sometimes when you travel to a different country, you get what I would like to call it culturally overwhelmed. You
Yeah.
can be culturally overwhelmed because of the difference. But when you read about it, when you understand it, when you understand the cultures, the different cultures, when you and then see someone and meet someone from that particular culture, whether it's Indian, Chinese, Asian, whatever, you you start to sort of like get the sense and understand what they mean by it. It's not just about meat and eating meat and not eating meat. It is more than that. And so in closing, I say we should start going in this direction. We should start in the direction of understanding and reading and understanding everyone and about every country and every culture.
Yeah. I think
Yeah, that's true. That's correct.
that's a very good point to make. That it's not just it's not just about not eating meat. There's like an entire spiritual meaning behind those practices, which you don't really want to offend. But I guess that's just what happened. But just keep note of it for next time. But yeah, I think that's all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. It was a blast to talk. So we'll see you guys in the next episode. So yeah, bye. Take care.
Thank you, Maz, and thank you, Mohammed, for
Much.
coming on the podcast. Um, to all the viewers, thank you so much for listening to our first ever episode. We all look forward to seeing you in many episodes to come in the future, inshallah. Anyway, thank you guys. Thanks, Maz. Thanks, Mohammed.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you very much for listening, and hopefully we will see you in the next podcast.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye.